Welcome back to another YouTube video from Electech channel. And today I'm sat out in the open. I'm not actually got any radios to play with because they're all at home thousands of miles away. So here I am on a very sunny afternoon in Dhaka in Bangladesh, and as you can hear, lots of traffic. The last video was a bit of a disaster because even though I'd taken time to actually find some royalty-free, copyright-free music I could just use, but still give a credit to whoever I got it from and the author, which I did, and I put it all in there, YouTube still decided to do a copyright claim, and I thought, well, that's not very good. So remove that music and find something else which really wasn't appropriate, and the actual YouTube studio isn't that good. You can't fade music in and out. You just have it and you adjust the volume, and that is it. So, and I didn't have the time or the equipment to actually redo the video and re-upload it again and try it again, so I just left it as is. Lesson to be learned. So hopefully this video will address that. So what's happened in the last week or so since I uploaded that? Well, I've been thinking about actually what videos I can actually share with you guys. I've also changed my blog name. It was a completely different name. I've had that website for 12 years now, and I thought it was a bit of a change, anything else, because the hosting and the domain name was up for renewal, so I added another one. So I've used my call sign, G7UAY, that's Golf 7 Uniform Alpha Yankee. And so there on the blog I've started adding information about the first video, the one you've just seen last week, which was building my radioless node, how I built mine. It's not how to build one, it gives you guys good ideas of how you might want to build yours differently to what everybody else has been doing. There's lots of videos on YouTube about these kind of devices, and everybody has their own versions, and some people use whatever they've got in their junk box to build one, and there are some horrific examples and there's some very smart ones. And I took my not took ideas, I actually looked at one by a guy called Joe Bask. He was a Canadian radio amateur, and he's a tinkerer, and he does quite a lot of really good ideas, and he has a fantastic shack and workshop, very untidy, just like mine, which he did a tour of, I think a couple of weeks ago on a video, and it gave me the incentive to do my video at the time. That's what it is. So that last video, a bit of a disaster, but the next one will be how I built my own HF, that's single sideband CW transceiver with 20 watts output, or is it 25? I think 25 when I did test it. I managed to get out of it. Full HF band transceiver, and it is built from one of those Indian HF kits, U-bit X radios, which are absolutely stunning value for money and actually very good quality. I mean, it comes with a fully built main board and tested. All you have to do is plug things in, stick it in the box, add the screws and test it, and it's fantastic. But I thought it was rather limited in and I didn't really like the GUI on it. So just like Joe Bask had done on his, I did mine and I redesigned it. And I used two next-in displays next to each other, both of them touchscreen. And so I've got one display near the VFO knob, which is actually the main tuning display, which tells you all the information about what mode you're using, what frequency you're on, current things like received signal strength, filter widths, and all that kind of thing. And on the next screen to it is a touchscreen, which allows you to take that current VFO and stick it into a memory, and also to take memories and put them back into the VFO. So it just makes it easy with a click. Also, there is a further smaller screen, because that is the screen I taken from an ATU 100 auto antenna tuner kit, which I built. So that is on the front panel as well with its display, and the auto tuner is actually in the radio as well. So everything that I need is in there. By the power supply really, but it all feeds off 12 volts. And the other thing I added to it was I managed to get hold of some of these digital signal processing boards from Salter Beams in the UK. Fantastic company, making a fantastic piece of kit. It really, really is good, and you do several options of fixed bandwidths or variable bandwidths. And I went for the one on this design with 2 fixed bandwidths, one for SSB and one for CW, so 300 Hz and 2.4 kilohertz. Actually gives you fantastic quality audio. So I did make some modifications to it, and I have not used the onboard audio amplifier with the kit. I added my own because I wanted to bring the volume control out onto the front panel rather than at the board, which is now located at the back. And that volume control comes complete with the amplifier built on the side of it, so it's a no-brainer just absolutely to use that. So my front panel is actually, I would say, not cluttered. I mean, I do like lots of buttons and knobs to tweak and tune and press and do. I love that kind of thing, especially some of the old radios. Anyway, that's for that video. On the next video after that, I also plan to share with you it's a duplex DVM in a very small case, and the majority of the front panel is taken by a huge Nextion, and it's 3.5 inch. It's not huge, but it is, because it is a small box. So it's a huge Nextion touchscreen display, and with a number of buttons at the side of it. But the added thing about this one, which people might find interesting, is I have put into it, or shoehorned into it, the contents of a 4G LTE Wi-Fi router, portable one, you know, the MiFi things, and also a 5,000 milliamp hour or 5 amp hour portable power bank. So all these have been fitted into it, as well as the Raspberry Pi 4, as well as the duplex DVM, which does all modes. I mean, I just stick it on DMR and be done with it, but it does all modes. And because it's duplex, you can use your radio to actually send in a disconnect command through the receiver, because it's duplex. Then you can if you've got talk groups already programmed in, or you can go through your contacts and then select a contact and hit send, and it automatically changes to that one. No longer are you stuck waiting for talk group 91 to end. And similarly, then if you wanted to use it with C4FM or D-Star or one of the other protocols that you're using, it's just basically stop, disconnect up your C4FM radio, and it works on that, all automatically. And so it's in a nice little grey case with 2 antennas on the back, and I put in a buck converter and a voltage converter as well. So you can actually feed this thing anything from 5 volts to 60 volts really. So I thought, you know, if you have a laptop power supply, it just takes care of the power requirements, and there's just the right amount of power for the Raspberry Pi, for the DVM, and the display. And what people fail to think about is, and that's something that I had to make changes, because I didn't think about it until I realised at the last minute, was, so if you've got a power supply that's only capable of 1.5 amps, you've only got that 1 amp left for your Raspberry Pi and for your DVM. And if you're running a Raspberry Pi 3 or a 4, it could be quite, you need that extra. So it's always a good idea to power the Nextions, if you have many of them, separately. But in my duplex DVM design, I took care of that by making sure there was the current capacity there, and if there isn't, at least I've got that 5,000 milliamp hour battery there to keep you going for an hour or two. And I did have the switches on it, so I can disconnect, turn off the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi SSID is exactly the same as the one in my shack, so it doesn't matter where I go, it will always log on to my home Wi-Fi, which is being cloned by the internal Wi-Fi unit as well. Also, there is the actual power off, but there's the gentle reset for the Raspberry Pi as well. I also added the function to turn off the internal battery as well, so I'm just running off what's coming in from the socket at the back. And I also added the functionality to switch off all the LEDs and the display itself while still letting the device run, and it can be managed by its web page. That means that you can probably get a bit longer battery life as well, because you've just saved yourself 0.5 amp plus the couple of indicating LEDs that's on there. So quite an interesting project. It works. It's all in one little box, screwed together very well, very robust as well, because I have dropped it. That's it for now. Thanks for listening. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and anything I've mentioned, the links are down below in the description, and don't forget to visit my blog, g7uay.com. Catch you later.